I'm in the worst spot in my house to where the Wi-Fi is. This is the Drop Podcast, where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Kulop.
What's up, everyone? We got our first episode podcast here that we're going to hit you up with. We both played rounds of golf this week. We did not play together, but that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about those two golf courses and the state of our games, as well as other things.
So I think your idea about getting this going, getting this up and running, getting it live was a good one. There's no doubt about it. So I'm excited to get talking about it. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. There's no doubt about it.
For sure, and I appreciate the props on the idea, but an idea is nothing if it doesn't get some legs. And I'll tell you, it's nice. I think we do a nice job of pushing each other in both directions. So it's right. Thanks for the idea, but if you weren't as crazy as you were, it wouldn't be anything right now. All right, so
let's start with yours. Let's start with you.
Okay.
You played today. It's fresh. I took a little trip down from the Parkway here. Teed it up down at Seaview, Bay course. Give us stuff. Let's hear about it.
Yeah. So had an 8:20 tee time. It's like a little over an hour from where I live. Maybe just on an hour, depending on if I stop for coffee and a bagel in the morning or whatever. So I had to get up super early, drove down, got to Seaview. That place, every time, this is my third time that I've been there. The first two times, one time was just to pick up golf clubs that I had ordered. This time, other time I played, and it was 50-mile-an-hour winds, and it topped out at 45 degrees. So this, I'd say, was the first. Well, yeah, this was the first real time that I got to really get out there, and I got out there with the pro Jeff Carswell. Was able to play with me today so that was a great experience as well. But every time I've been there, I've been amazed at how much stuff is going on there. It's an unbelievable golf course. The Bay course is incredible. Then they have the Pines, so that's 36 there, which I got to drive around the Pines today a little bit. That the Pines is aesthetically, the views of the Bay course are incredible. You're looking at Atlantic City on a ton of holes, and it's more of that linksy fescue style, but they have some trees, so it's not true links style there. But then you go up to the Pines on the other side of the property, and it's like being in the woods of Carolina. It's very pine straw on the bottom of a bunch of the trees that started dropping needles and stuff. So very, very different. And then on top of that, you have the golf aspect of it, but then you also it's a world-class facility for weddings and a conference venue, and the hotel. It's got so many different things going on there that you go up there and nobody's standing still, because somebody's checking the hotel, someone's checking out of the hotel, someone's checking. There's just so much going on.
Yeah, those views on the Bay are really, really nice.
Right, they're as good as of views as you could get maybe in New Jersey, because that is okay. We'll go outside here. Okay, Pebble's got better views. I got it. But you're the first hole in the morning, especially because the sun's rising over Atlantic City. Man, that view you get from 1 and 2. So you kind of go from the hotel, 1 and 2 are pretty straight, but they're heading towards Atlantic City. They're just back to back straight holes. And that second hole is, I think, as hard a golf hole as you're going to get. And there's, for a straight hole, it's just, you have so the thing about it, it's 1914, built by Donald Ross, and Donald Ross's things are tight greens, and every green like you're going to use the word postage stamp a ton talking about it because it's it's tiny greens with a lot of breaks and even like subtle breaks that you don't see.
How did it hold up with all that rain that just came through? 'Cause I know that's kind of a wet area over there.
So it is. I mean, it's on the bay, but obviously why it's called the Bay Course. But there was not any like it wasn't car path only. I know earlier in the summer, like was it the springtime when we got that storm there that came through. Um, Water got on like one of the fairways. I think it's 8. No issues with the water at all. Um, yeah. So it was great. You know that course is like the bones of that course, and if you like that Donald Ross style where it's wispy, fescue, um, you know, like that style golf with tiny tight greens, it's as it's as good as it can get, and the views again are awesome. Um, I was, talking with Jeff on the course, like some of the things that this is his second year there that they'd like to do. If you look at like, so I'm into the history of stuff and the history. Like you look at old photos from the 1940s, it had no trees on it. So at some point in the last 80 years, those trees have gone to like obstruct some views. So if you're standing on one of the photos that we saw as we were walking the hotel, you could see from one green, you could see another tee box, another green, like you could see all along the water. Now those trees have grown and you can't see them. So I know they have some work that they want to do as far as that goes, but they just redid the bunkers um, before the Shoprite Cup there. It does host. Yeah, I didn't say that. It does host the LPGA Shoprite Cup every year. So it's yeah, it was great. I didn't play very well. That course doesn't work for my like. I can't. I don't. I'm not good enough at golf where I can spin the ball and hold greens and things like that. And if I don't play consistent enough straight shot or fade or draw, so I might have hit 5 or 6 greens today. That's it. So it wasn't a great day as far as that goes. So then this was really cool. So while we were on the Pines course, so Sam Snead's first major championship he won on the Pines course. He won on 18, so it was actually pretty cool. They played 9 holes on the Bay course, 9 holes on the Pines course. So he chips in on what's the Pines course number 16 to win the Wanamaker Trophy, which at that point it wasn't stroke play, it was match play. So he won that 2-1. So it was the 17th hole for that tournament. It's the 16th hole on the Pines now. But really cool. They played a tournament there. They don't have members, they have card holders. But for the people who are regulars there, they had a tournament where they brought in um, old era golf clubs. So like this company has these clubs. They don't make them; they're original, like from the era. Um, and they had a mashie, a niblick, um, putter, a driver. Like I don't even know some of the words that they use, but it was really cool. There was one, the hole that he chips in on. It was a par 3, was like two 220. I hit the driver, and I didn't know what to expect. So I put a ball down, and I was like, let's see what happens. I struck it beautifully, and I was like, that felt really weird. It was like swinging the club. There's no whip to it because it's a wooden shaft. So it's like swinging a tree branch. Like everything's just one unit. You know how you can feel like a whip in a club, and you can like the kick point and all that stuff. You didn't have that at all. So I felt like I was like, hey, I hit that pretty well. So we move up a tee box. Like, all right, let's hit one of the irons. Hit one of the irons and just flat push it right. Hit a tree. That was miserable. But it was again still cool to hit these clubs. I mean, again, they don't make them. So this company has procured dozens, if not hundreds, of sets of golf clubs for exactly this that are old, and they don't tell you exactly the year, but they say, hey, these are clubs from 19, the clubs that I hit were from 1900 to 1930. That was the era that they were from. So, um,
We have a little better technology.
yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, super cool. Um, yeah, definitely worth the trip down for anyone that's looking to go down and play the Bay course. Again, the views you can't beat, and is super easy way to get 36 done in a day. If you want to play 36, go play lunch, play again. So
And the nice thing about that place, is even if wanting to play 36, is it's two different 18s.
oh my
It's two
gosh,
really different golf courses. So it's not like if you go play the Bay first, it's not like I'm going to see the same things, the same types of holes. It's legitimately night and day for anybody that wants to take the trip down. So the Pines, it's a little more. You can't really spray the ball. It's tree lined. You got to hit the ball straight. Whereas the Bay, you can spray it a little bit, but you're going to soak in the views.
for sure. And I like that they treat it as if they're two different courses. Like they don't have like the the hole markers. When you pull up and it tells you, hey, the fourth hole, 200 yards or whatever it is. Like those are two different styles. Like they don't have any. Like they've um, on the Pines course, they have that. I like when courses do it when they have that pole in the middle of the fairway that's like, hey, this is 150 yards to the green. Um, the Bay course doesn't have that. The Pines course does. So they even do things like that, like little details that are different in there. Again, to try to further push that, hey, you're playing two very different golf courses. So, so yeah, it was a nice day today. So that's my round. I know you went out to Scotland Run. Um, we had earlier in the week we both had rounds canceled because of Hurricane Ian. Um, so Mike was able to sneak out one of the days and get out to Scotland Run down in Southwest Jersey, kind of out by like the Trenton, Philly area, but even further south of those.
Yeah,
And
I would say it's probably Southwest Jersey, closer to the Philly area. That would be my guess. I don't really know. I haven't really looked at exactly where it was on the map, but in relation to where I am, it was like an hour and five west. So it's got to be like somewhere in that Philly, south of Philly area, but still in the state of New Jersey.
for sure. Um, let's hear it. Tell us about it.
I mean, listen. I mean, after that nonstop rain that we all experienced last weekend, I think we all would have thought you're walking into casual water puddle fest. But to their credit, the course was in good shape. I called that morning just to see if they were open. They were. The greens rolled. The greens rolled well. I mean, there were random spots of puddles, but nothing ridiculous, nothing out of control. And you would have thought that things would have been, especially on the greens, a little hairier, a little slower. But they rolled. There were a couple of putts I was surprised with how quick they were. That was the first time I've ever been there. I've played the other two in that little circle with Baltimore and Atlantic City Country Club. So I was like, this needs to be one that you kind of check off the box. You hear great things about it, and you know why when you're rolling. First off, the clubhouse is beautiful. They got an unbelievable driving range, practice facility for chipping and pitching. The putting green was perfect, and obviously, being the golf nerd I am, I was only one of three people on Wednesday when I rolled up. They let a twosome out before me. Then I was the other guy out there, and thankfully, I didn't take advantage. I should say, unfortunately, I didn't take advantage of all the practice facilities because with the rain coming, I wasn't sure if I was going to get drenched. So I said I better make sure I just get my 18 in. And just jumped out of the car, paid my dues, and jumped straight to the first day and just flew around there. Um, and it's definitely a spot you can see why a lot of people go to, why it probably gets a lot of great reviews. Um, because I can't imagine on a dry day how fast some of those fairways must be. Because when I hit drives, the ball would stop, it would plug, um, and I'd probably be fortunate that the ball did not bounce into a area. So I mean, listen, I was overly impressed. It clearly drains well out there. It clearly does. Um, and it was a good day. It was definitely something I would tell anybody that you're in the area, you want to go play. Um, that's definitely something I would go hit up. Definitely.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. Never been as well. Um, but for sure, that's a spot that you'd never have heard a bad thing about that. So good that you know, good that it drains. That's incredible. And you were able to play much better than I did. So that's awesome. I've also never heard this, and maybe this is to the point. I've never heard that it takes a long time to play. That it's like a super, like, oh, it was so packed or whatever. I've heard that it's beautiful, that it's takes a little bit to get there. It's in the kind of middle of nowhere, but I've never heard anyone be like, oh, but it was a 5 hour round or whatever. So maybe that's to the point of like
Yeah.
it's a little bit not super pricey, but in under $100 to play, but not always the busiest. So that something to it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I think for me it was again, when you think about courses that are accessible, like you kind of want to check the box and say I played there.
Yeah.
And for me, I've never played there, so you've been fortunate to play a lot of different spots in the states, and especially this one. If you're trying to hit them all, which listen, I don't even know if that's a possibility because I knew I tossed that question to you last night, how many there were, and then I started googling it myself,
It's funny
and
while you were talking, I pulled up my phone and I tried to Google that too because I was like, oh, let me see if we ever found an answer to that.
Yeah, so to the audience, I had mentioned to Rye last night. I said, just out of curiosity, like, well, how many golf courses are there in the state of New Jersey? Like, how many public tracks slash semi-private courses could the average Joe like us get on and play? And he didn't know. He guessed, and I said, no, I don't know. I'm asking you. He didn't know, and so last night I googled it, and I didn't get a definitive answer. I got something along the lines of like 225 plus. Now, again, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's private included. But that was like the number. So to me, like when I thought about, just kind of putting a bow on the Scotland run was I've never played there. And if you want to venture out and play different spots and take a trip and play, for me, I just wanted to check that box and say, hey, listen, been there, different part of the state, Southwest, you know, living you know, in Ocean County, it's kind of you're going up and down really in terms of that. So going out that area was fun and a great course. So that's kind of my thinking about the why in terms of Scotland Run, really.
Love it. Yeah, that was. I think when you sent out that text, I think my first response was 400 question mark. Is there 400
Yeah.
public golf course? I have no idea. And I mean, does that include like 225? And then I actually recalibrated, and I think I said 200 after that with another question
You
mark.
did.
Like,
I'll give you credit with that. You did say 200.
but again, no idea. And does that even include? Like, I was thinking, does that include like like your executive par threes like Bel Air or like Colonial Terrace or does it include those kind of courses too? Like not just not just your typical full course that are public, like your
Yeah,
county courses.
I mean that it's a great question, and I don't know specifically if anybody has the answer to that. I'd be dying to know if someone did. I actually went on the NJSGA's website to see like how many, I guess, governing bodies or associations they oversee within this New Jersey State Golf Association, and I think that's where I found the number of 200 to 225, somewhere in that ballpark. But again, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that includes executives. I
Right.
don't know if that includes all the publics, semi-privates. Like I don't really know how that
Right. Does
really
right?
works.
Good question. Does semi-private count in that too? Because yeah.
So I mean, I'd be dying to know that because I guess there's something where you'd like to make a Excel sheet,
Hmm.
and just as a golf nerd as we are, kind of put the old check in the box that hey, I got that one. Never been to this one. All right, let's see if you can find something because I think when you start to think as crazily as I do, you start thinking along the lines of, well, there's 52 weeks in a year. Let's see if I can play 52 different courses in the state of New Jersey. Now, I get it. That's not realistic because the winter comes and all the things are going on. So you're not going to do that.
Right.
But if
Family and
I could
work
set,
also.
unfortunately, this is not my full time job, even though I wish it was. But I guess you could still do the 52 courses in a year.
Hmm.
You may play two in a week because you had the opportunity to.
Right.
You may go 2 weeks without playing any. But I think that if you did something along those lines and just said I got to play 52, and that's if you played, and if there is 200, I mean, again, we're just doing simple math here. It would take you 4 years to play them all.
Right.
But there is, when you think about it, you've probably played a lot of them already.
For sure, and even if not a lot, you've at least played the ones in like your immediate area. So if you're like, I'm in Monmouth County, I've played. Uh, I don't know if there's a
All of
public
them.
track in Monmouth County that I haven't played yet. Like so,
Well,
there's a bunch out of the way.
right.
Um,
So that's what I'm saying. So like, I think that idea, like, hey, listen, we want to be able to step foot on everywhere. Like we'd like to come out and play.
yeah,
We don't care if it's northwest, southwest, south,
totally,
east, west, north. Like just to say you've gone out there and play, I think that'd be cool.
for sure. I like the idea that you said of having a spreadsheet. I think we should put that together of like, even if it's not courses that we want to play, like putting together a spreadsheet of the entire state of New Jersey, which for sure, if we did that, it'd be the only one on the internet.
Well, honestly, and I think when you think about like what we're trying to accomplish here, like I think the audience needs to understand. For us, this is not a national thing. Like we're not looking to get out to California and Colorado and the Pacific Northwest. Like we're not. Like we're golfers. If we went on a trip, that's a different story. But the podcast and what we're trying to develop here is our own little niche. Like we want to be golfing in the Garden State. Like we want to see and hear from the people here
Hmm.
about what we have to offer. And I think as this continues to grow, it's going to take time. It's going to be a process. But when we have different guests on that are head pros at different spots and superintendents and even people in the golf world, we'd love to get people on from the NJSGA to come on here and talk and promote the game. Um, I know there's a lot of good spots, girls golf, trying to find different ways just to promote what we have as in such a good thing here. Um, and just playing, just being a voice for people in the state of New Jersey, maybe that are interested in playing different spots. So if we can provide that type of content, that type of information, I think that'd be a really cool thing.
Totally, and I think also to piggyback on that is that like New Jersey's such a unique state because it's the most populated state in the country by like per acre. Like we're a super small state, but we have a lot of people, and within that state, like it's even super diverse that we have major cities, we have the beach communities, and we have like rural farming areas, like from everything that you could possibly imagine. Whereas like some states don't really it like no offense to like Montana, but like yeah, they have cities, and then the rest of it is like elk and moose, and I
Well,
don't.
yeah. So that's a great point. I think the landscape varies. I mean, think about if you go all the way northwest of Ballyowen and the mountains and
Hmm.
the undulation, and then you go all the way down to like Atlantic City. You go down to play, the links at Brigantine, and it's just a flat course. It's right on the water. The wind is howling,
Hmm.
and then you can go play a place in Monmouth County like Hominy Hill, where it's just a you
Yeah.
know, normal golf course. Like
Right.
there's nothing to it in sense of like, um, it's just a normal place you'd play. I'm
For
not saying
sure.
there's anything wrong with that because Hominy's great, but you have so many different areas
No,
to
but
play.
you're not using like unique characteristics. Whereas like if you go like up into the northern part of New Jersey where like the mountains are coming through, like I know we've both played courses where like you're using the rocks of the mountain that are molding, helping mold the course, whether it's like a huge boulder that just is like, what, this brings some characteristic to it, or it's like like part of the like splitting the fairway through this like spine of rock, like whatever the case is. But like Hominy Hill is gorgeous, not knocking it at all, but it doesn't have any, you're not using any of the land to
Yeah,
the
there's no
land
uniqueness
that
to
it's
it.
on is not molding the golf course.
yeah, there's no uniqueness to it in that respect.
Yeah.
And again, and I don't want that to be spun like, oh, they hate Hominy Hill. That's not
No.
the point. No,
No.
we love
Fucking
Hominy. If you ask
beautiful.
me to go
It
play,
is awesome.
I'll go play. Yeah, I'll go. You want me to go play a Monmouth County course that someone like me can go play? I'm jumping on that in a second. So I think the idea that, or the point that we're trying to get across, is that each place has its own uniqueness, and within our state alone, there's so many of them. So, and the pictures, the landscape, the things that you could get from each one, you're just walking away like, wow, that was a good hole, or that was a good 9, or
Mm-hmm.
that was a good course. So I think that's the thing, and I think that's our goal here, is to explore, to see what this state's about, to talk about different golf courses. And listen, we'll be honest. I know there's going to be some times that we say, the course was blah, and you may say the course was great. Um, but I think that's the idea. We understand that we're not going to agree or appeal to every single person, but the idea is that, we're two golfers. We love to play. We're gonna play, um, and we're gonna have some good things to say, and we'll have some things that some people may completely disagree. But that's okay. It's life. It's life.
For sure. Mike, that's the one thing that like I think we need to think about maybe for next episode is like how would we rate a golf course? Like what are some things on there like obviously playability, clubhouse, like all these things. Maybe it's something we talk about next week and think about like a rating system because as if we're going to be playing all these courses, we need to have a rating system. And
Yeah, and then let's also reach out to everybody else if they have certain things that they look for, in terms of rating a golf course. Like, what are they looking for?
right. Oh, and even
So if they
even
have,
like more important, like which one is more important than like not saying pace of play isn't something, but like maybe it's not as
it
important
is.
as like the golf course. So like maybe one of something is out of if we made everything out of 5, but like how the course plays might be out of 10. We can always move that, but like
Yeah,
that's something that would be pretty
yeah.
cool.
Like, do you need a driving range? Do you not need a driving range? Like, are you looking for a practice facility before you play? Those are things I think that no doubt we can brainstorm and see if the audience has anything else to add to that.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And again, like, we're just getting out there, but if you guys have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, certainly throw it out to us. We'd love to hear from you.
But I think and I also just to kind of like talk about what we're trying to get done here with this podcast, and I think after we decided to let everything go over the weekend, the reviews and the things that people told me have been unbelievable. They really have, and I think our goal here is to talk about golf in the Garden State and to play as many different public courses and semi-private courses that we can. If we're fortunate to get on the private ones, yeah, of course we're gonna kind of dabble with them and see what they're all about as well. But the goal here is to hit up as many as we can, talk about as many as we can. Um, we'll have different people come up and interview different people. And I think this is going to be a fun, new, exciting project for the both of us. And I know deep down that I'm ready to get going with it. I probably, Ryan's text messages in the last week alone probably have quadrupled and just coming from me directly. Because I'm all in on this idea, and I think it has a lot of legs.
For sure. I agree. And again, just we played golf one day, kind of threw the idea out there, and it's come to fruition. And having the like, I didn't know what to expect when we did. We were kind of trying to make sure we got all our ducks in a row before we really launched it. We don't want to come off like we are just two regular people that like playing golf, that are interested in golf, vested in golf. We have varying skill levels in golf, um, but we didn't want to come off just like two Joe schmoes that are just trying to do something, in and not. We don't want to make it look like we're half-assing it. We want to full-ass this. And before we dropped,
And I think, yeah, go ahead. No, finish.
I was just gonna say, before we dropped all the stuff that we dropped on social and YouTube, before we had like our opening event, quote unquote. Um, we were kind of making sure, like, hey, have we checked all the boxes here? Are we ready for this? Are we good to go? And then when we decided, yeah, I didn't really know what to expect, and I was really surprised with how many people also thought this was a great idea. What you said, having so many positive comments to it about this is a great idea. This is nobody's doing this. Like I think I think it is a great idea, and I am super excited and thankful for everyone that was super positive with it. And if you have anything negative to say, don't let me know.
Well, I think that's the other thing is we're new at this too, so there's not be some polished product that everything's going to be perfect right from the beginning. Anything from editing a video to putting a podcast out there. Like the goal is to get the podcast out once a week, and we're going to be pretty diligent in making sure that that happens. Hopefully they're out by Thursday, and that'll be the plan. But I do want to say, like, we're not pros.
No.
We're going to grind. We're going to figure it out. We're going to do our best. But I think everybody understands that when you get going, there's obviously a lot more speed bumps than 2-3 years from now. So, we do appreciate anybody reaching out. You know something a little better than we do. Listen, feel free to let us know. Share that information, because clearly we want to make this as good as we can. And if you have a little tidbit that would work for us, I mean, listen, we want it.
For sure. 100% there. Again, like I was, I consider myself, and I think you do too, I'm pretty competent with technology. Like I can get my way around the computer better than most people, I would say. It was a frustrating day the other day with all the social media stuff that you got to remember to, like, then something didn't, this format didn't work, so you got to change it and do all that kind of stuff. It's a learning process for sure. I mean, I think you said it the other day, like, you got to love the journey. You got to love the grind. And that's certainly part of it. Like, we're learning as we go through too. We got an idea, we got, motivated to do it. And again, if you know something that we don't, or doing something that we should be, let us know.
Yeah, and I think as much as we can, the two of us, we're going to get together and we're going to play golf. We're going to venture around. So that goes to the same thing with golf courses. Obviously, if someone's in a different area than where we are, and you say, hey, listen, I got a spot up here in north, south, east, west, northwest, whatever the case is, we got a course up here that I'm telling you people would love. By all means, let us know. Reach out to us. Say, hey, listen, I got a spot here that I think you guys would like. We're two social people, so we like to talk to people. We like to hang out, and by all means, don't be afraid to invite us up. We'll come up, we'll play, and we'll have some fun while doing it.
For sure there.
All right, we'd appreciate everybody reaching out, following us. We are on Instagram at @the_drop_pod. Same handle on Twitter @the_drop_pod. We're also on YouTube. It's a little different on YouTube. It's the Drop Golf Podcast. That's our channel if you want to follow us there. You can also email us at the same email address as the YouTube channel, which is the Drop Golf Podcast @gmail.com. We'd love to hear from everybody. Any ideas, comments, concerns, shoot us an email, DM us, let us know.
The other way you can listen to the podcast is on a few different platforms. It is all the Drop Golf Podcast on Spotify, Google Pods, Castbox, and iHeartRadio. We're working on a few others, but right now, that's where we sit.
Yeah, and don't be afraid if you're a little lost on where to find it. If you check Instagram or Twitter, everything's plugged in right there. You can find the links to whatever you need. I know since we're an early and just starting podcast, sometimes it's hard to find certain things on there. But if you go attack one of those Instagrams or Twitters, it's a lot easier to find the links to go get that out there. So as we get rolling, hopefully things get a little better and it's a little more known per se. But feel free to reach out. Hopefully you follow us. Hopefully you enjoy the product.
All right, Rye, you got anything else?
No, I'm all good.
All right, just drop it over there then.
Found it.
Episode 1 in the books, boys. Let's go.